Okay, so they start talking about guns, and I'm kind of overhearing this, minding my business, walking around. So I kind of circle back through. I'm like looking at the view, and I walk back through the bathroom, and they're still talking. Next thing I know, the seller takes out a backpack and takes out literal guns and bullets and is showing them off like show and tell to my colleague. And I felt very uncomfortable. I was like, okay, this is like inappropriate. Like what is happening
and
here?
they were in a backpack.
Yes, he
Not
takes
like
the
a
backpack
gun
out.
safe.
Yeah, not a safe.
No.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski here with
Cameron Barbier.
today.
Sounds like a rock in my throat.
We can never get through an intro. I just want to say, okay, today we have Shana Weisman with us.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're excited.
So Shana is an agent. Whoa. Oh my God. Okay.
See,
Shana, we're
going
just
on.
a hot mess today.
Okay.
Shana is an agent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties. I'm always very proud of myself for getting that since Matt Tovey, the very first one. I just actually copy and paste like everybody's bio from that. In 2022, Shana was actually recognized as 30 under 30 honoree from her alma mater, University of Miami.
That's awesome.
Stalked her Instagram. She's been in the business just about 8 years now. She's a gem to do deals with and a force in the business. Shana, welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having
welcome.
me.
Also, happy Passover.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you're welcome. Yeah, I know when this airs, it'll obviously be over, but it started last night. So yeah, hope you're going to eat some delicious food.
Oh yeah, matzah, gotta love it. You know.
Can I come over?
Absolutely.
And Shabbat too. Like I'm down anytime.
Yeah, Shabbat's the best one because of the challah.
I
mean,
agree.
Come on.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know. I haven't been to a Shabbat dinner in a while. So like, anyway, if anyone out there wants to have me over for Shabbat, I am your girl. Anyway, welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Yes, thank you. I'm
so
excited.
I know. So Brianne Stoffer, our very good friend,
Yes.
texted me a couple weeks ago and was like, you have to have Shana. I'm like, she's on the list. Like, I will reach out now. And then when I went to text you, I saw we had texted about another deal. I don't even remember what it was now. We'll have to look back at our text.
Yeah,
I wonder. But it was like 22 or 20. It was a while ago.
Wow.
So I know.
Yeah.
Because I don't go to the PB Caravan a lot. Do you go to Reba?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Because I haven't seen you like a ton, but I've actually never been to the PB Caravan.
Ever?
No, I should go.
You know what's funny is they
It's just
overlap
hard when it's
a lot.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's
is
the
hard.
thing is
Yeah.
like so many agents will have it on Bolt It, and so
Yeah.
Have you been to the PB one?
Well, I was just
Years
thinking, I'm like,
ago?
is that the one that's at Mission Bay Yacht Club?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, I need to go. I mean, obviously I know everybody there. I just like
Yeah.
it's just the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Like Reba's hard enough.
It is hard to do both, but they have a
Yes.
different vibe. Like the
Totally
Mission
different
Beach,
vibe.
Yes.
way more casual. They give you food. Reba, as you guys know, is a little different than that. Yeah.
Although I still roll up very casual and
Yeah,
myself, and I'm
jeans,
like,
I mean, yeah.
every week I'm like, she's here. She is who she is. You know what I mean? Anyway, we
Yeah.
love it. Well, you walked in.
Yes.
Oh, first of all, she was like, I have like 10 stories, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna have to do part 2 and part 3.
Oh God.
But where do you want to start?
Okay, well, we're already talking about Reba, so we can start
Ooh,
maybe with the
perfect.
Caravan
Okay,
story.
yeah, perfect.
Okay, so for anyone who's listening that doesn't
Feel
know,
free to adjust that too.
Oh yeah,
any
it
way
just
you want.
feels like awkward.
We
but
want
here we go.
want you sucking on the mic, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Reba in general, it's a broker's caravan, but it's a little bit of an older demographic.
Yeah.
Like I would say everyone.
It's an institution.
Yes.
It is established. These are agents who've been
100
in the
years.
business for a very long time. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
you don't sit in people's seats.
Exactly. So all of us and anyone for the most part that comes on this podcast, like we bring the median age down quite a bit there just
yes.
to set the stage.
Yes,
okay.
we do.
So this story is insane because so basically I was going, as we do on Wednesdays, on Caravan. So there's a street in La Jolla and it's quite a long street, which is why I'm happy to talk about it, called Camino de la Costa.
The Street of Dreams.
The Street of Dreams.
Yes,
like
baby.
it is oceanfront, obviously on one side, the other side, no, but it's an oceanfront street.
Yep.
So I'm in this house and this is a little bit peculiar because normally it's agents that go in and out of these homes. The public and the sellers are not normally there.
Right.
Correct.
In this case, the listing agent made it abundantly clear the seller was present. And he was.
Okay.
So all of us are walking through the house.
I've seen that happen a time or two where they're like,
Just
hey, they're
standing
here.
watching. kind
Yeah,
of
they
thing?
just
Okay.
want to be there for whatever reason.
Was it
fine?
Was it so most of these houses on this street are quite large and quite beautiful, but there are some that are original and older and need some work. Which was it?
This was a nice house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
So
a
this
nice
water?
house. It was on the not on the
side.
water. It was on the other side. It had a
Okay.
good view though, but not on the water.
Okay.
So I go into this house with a colleague in my office, and we're kind of walking through, and we go upstairs, and it was one of those houses that the primary is like a wing of the house. So that whole upstairs is just primary.
Okay.
And the seller comes upstairs and goes into the closet, and all of us are kind of walking around, and as sellers sometimes do, wants to explain this and that about the whole closet and the master and everything they put into it.
Sure. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So lo and behold, this person
Lord and behold, as my brother and I say.
this person in my office and the seller start, of all the topics, getting on the topic of guns, right? And I'm just kind of
Okay.
like overhearing, and I'm just like, like,
This is random.
interesting.
Let me
It's like
listen to this.
Right now in our industry, like for anyone who doesn't know, like National Association of Realtors, NAR is a thing. Well, this was whatever the gun one is.
NRA.
NRA. This was full NRA. I was like, what am I listening to? Okay, so they start talking about guns, and I'm kind of overhearing this, minding my business, walking around. So I kind of circle back through. I'm like looking at the view, and I walk back through the bathroom, and they're still talking. So I kind of am like listening because I didn't want to leave her alone. We were actually driving in the same car.
And is she kind of pinned there with the seller, or is like there other agents kind of in
People are like walking through, but no
around?
one's, I mean, how long are you going to spend in a closet? But these two were in there chatting, okay? And so basically.
And she seems like okay.
Yeah, like they're in
like
a
she's really having a full-blown conversation.
full-blown conversation. They
Okay.
speak the same language. I'm standing there like, okay. So anyway, so I'm kind of listening. So next thing I know, the seller takes out a backpack and takes out literal guns and bullets and is showing them off like show and tell to my colleague. And I felt very uncomfortable. I was like, okay, this is like inappropriate. Like what is happening
And
here?
they were in a backpack.
Yes, he
Not
takes
like
the
a
backpack
gun
out.
safe.
Yeah, not
no,
a safe.
No. No. And so this is happening. And luckily, by the
Shana, no,
grace-
no. What?
By the grace of God, as this is getting worse and escalating, I get a phone call because I had an escrow at the time. So I'm like, thank God, divine intervention.
Like, I'm gonna run downstairs and tell the listing agent.
So I step out into the hallway and I take my call, and I'm like, just playing it cool, whatever. But I'm seeing this. And so
Is she, okay, hold on.
Yes.
Is she uncomfortable, or is she still full like, oh, like is she a gun enthusiast?
I feel like she is a gun enthusiast.
Or she knows about them.
She
so
does.
it wasn't,
Yes.
you know, like I did grow up with guns. My dad
Yeah.
had guns in a safe, and he
Yeah.
would go out and shoot them and like whatever. So like they don't bother me, but
Sure.
if I don't know the seller and he pulls them out of a backpack, I might be a little
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
and like he clearly, there was no like bad things were not about to go down.
yeah,
but it's
so
just,
okay, it was just the whole act of
yes,
like pulling,
and it's just
sure.
kind of like
Sure.
on Reba, on
Yeah.
Caravan. It's
not
just
the
like
place.
community, like this is not adding up. And so I'm in the hallway on the phone, like talking to whatever about my escrow, and the listing agent, who is very prominent, like sells a ton of real estate in La Jolla all the time, very high end real estate at that, and he barges up the stairs and you could just see it. I saw it on his face. I'm on the phone. He barges up the stairs, and whatever the seller's name was, he's like, hey, like as if it was Stephanie, like, hey, Stephanie, like we can't be doing this. And the seller's just like, well, like I'm just showing her. And the listing agent was like, absolutely not on Caravan, not here. Like you can't be doing this. And he was pissed.
he's right. Like
Yeah.
it's not appropriate. Right.
Absolutely not. So I'm standing there on the phone, like listening. I'm like, oh,
Now the
my
time is
you're
God.
like,
going down.
this is
Shane
great.
is like, wait a minute.
And I was just like, and I was like watching
It's
it.
also probably bad enough. Like again, for any clients that are out there listening, like
Yeah.
you know, it's not. We don't really. It's not that we don't want you there.
Yes.
It's just again, it's like if a buyer and seller were there at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you know, you to have a seller on Caravan was probably stressful enough, and you know, things happen. Like you don't want the seller to be like, well, they were, doing this or doing that, or they spilled something. You know, it's just like the whole thing was probably just a very stressful situation.
Yeah.
And then agents go downstairs and they're like, hey, yo, your seller's
like-
up there with a whole
Glock.
Yes.
set of Glocks out, just showing people, whipping them out. Like what?
Literally. And so, yeah, I'm just watching this, listing agents being very direct with the client, like hardcore, was like, you cannot be doing this.
That's interesting
The
too.
seller,
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys who it was after, but
Yes,
the seller
please.
puts it away, and then my colleague, and I'm just like backing away, kind of just like on the phone, like
Yeah,
just like,
You're like,
I'm not a
can
part
we
of
go
this."
now? Can we go now? Like,
Yeah.
get out of the closet with
and
this
I was
guy.
just like, what
wow.
is going on?
It's never a dull moment.
never a dull moment. Like,
So what'd she
never.
say in the car? Was she like, Oh,
yeah,
that's
good
great.
question.
And you know, from my recollection, this happened, I think was last year. Just like, I think
Were you like, what
because-
were you doing in
Yeah,
there?
if that was
think
you. I'd be
she-
like, what the?
because she spoke the language and was like very much, I think, a gun enthusiast.
Sure.
It didn't.
She
really
didn't
bother-
see anything wrong with it. I wasn't like, I didn't feel unsafe, but I just was simply like,
It's just not the place.
like
not the place and
we're
time.
here and like this is
Yeah.
just strange.
Like if it was like
Yeah.
a dinner
Yeah.
party that, then
Yeah, if you're at a
Yes.
party or whatever, that's like same with an open house. Like
Exactly.
actually, Brienne Stauffer, did you hear that episode? She walked in showing clients some house in Cardiff, and there was a Glock just sitting on the back of the toilet tank.
Are you serious?
And I was like, "Did you touch it?" She's like, "No. What if he was using a murder? I don't want my fingerprints all over it." I was like, "Good call." But like,
that's a good point.
again, it's just the shit we see sometimes. Like, but for that seller to do that, it was definitely
and it's kind of funny
inappropriate.
because if you would think he's so uptight and like I have to be there at the open house or caravan, and then you're just like going and showing agent your gun, like that just doesn't
Yeah.
add up.
So
That's
that was
funny.
just
And
kind of
I
funny.
also, how did that start? How did that conversation even like?
maybe there was like something on the wall.
No.
or
I
something.
remember. I'm glad you just asked that. What it started was he was enthusiastic. I mean, we all have clients like enthusiastic about why he's selling and having to move to Florida because California's too
there it is.
gone for him. now.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why. So then it's
And
just
then he was like,
That
"You want to see
started.
my gun collection?"
yeah.
Yeah, that's just like
Were
one
they?
too.
Were they like rifles?
There was more than one. I know
Small?
very little about guns. One was like small.
Okay, so
And then
it's
one was like
handgun.
bigger. And the
Okay.
bullets varied in size.
Sure.
For the various
Depends on the
guns.
gun. Yeah. Yeah.
So like by eavesdropping from the hallway, I got a good little lesson there on
Maybe
some
it
guns.
was like a semi-automatic, and that's why the listing agent just completely lost his shit because I'd be like, dude.
I don't know.
Because again, guns are also a controversial topic, right?
Yeah.
And so not everyone is comfortable with them. Not everyone is, gunslinging who knows what. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just, it is what it is. So it's definitely, and people can, and again,
Well, you don't know who that guy is. He could have just been,
yeah.
Who you just walk in, you don't know he's a seller.
right.
But also, what if, again, the fact that we're in a backpack makes me a little weary of this, but like you would think if you're a gun enthusiast or you have them, like they are not loaded, they're cleaned, they're put away. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
what if there was a bullet inside? And what if one of them went off? Like it's more of a safety issue.
Exactly.
And, that listing agent could have been reported by another agent who didn't know what was happening or didn't know, you know what I mean? And what if they didn't know that was the seller and they're like, someone just pulled a backpack out of guns out of it's like,
You never
this
know.
could go awry really, really quickly
Seriously.
when it didn't need to because it wasn't you were there the whole time. Like it wasn't that deep.
No.
Just a conversation, little show and
Show and tell.
but like inappropriate
Yeah.
for
so
sure.
NAR,
That's
nope.
wild.
NRA. Yep.
NRA. Yeah. Oh my God. Damn, I wish I would have been there that day. I wonder if I was.
You
at
might
that
have
house.
been.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, you'll have to tell us
Yeah.
offline.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hopefully. Oh my God. That's wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
did he move to Florida? Did the house sell?
It did. It took a while, but I actually followed up because I was curious because
Yeah.
I walk on that street a lot.
Yes.
And it sold. So
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
yeah,
He's living out his dream.
living it out. Yep.
That's hysterical.
Off to Florida he goes.
Yeah.
With all of his guns in his backpack.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned if he's living on Camino de la Costa.
Yeah, why are they in a backpack?
Why can't he afford a gun safe? Maybe he just got back from the range or something. And I don't think that's how you transport them.
Yeah. You know?
So it seems a little
Well, you need to ask your friends.
jiggly and
Yeah,
loose.
we can
we
find
need to
out,
find
right?
out from
You
her.
know?
Yeah. So you got in the car and you were just like, so that was interesting.
Yeah. I was just like,
And she's like, yeah.
She's like, next house.
but
You're
it's
like,
also just one of those things where it's like with the listing agent and I'm a huge believer that your reputation is once and only. Like you
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
go, you can only go, like you can't go back.
Right.
Right. So it's like the whole thing was just bizarre. And I was just like, all right, like what just happened?
And we don't, who knows the dynamics between the seller and him, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, if this has been an ongoing issue, then I might have also been like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
and I
Crazy.
probably would have yelled at him too. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just need content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOWCASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com.
wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got guns on Caravan. that's the name of this episode.
Yep.
I typically name the episode while we're talking. You know what I mean? So,
No, yeah.
Wow. What else you got for us?
Yeah.
We know you've seen some other crazy shit.
So I had another little situation. Thank God this one didn't involve a gun, but it was a squatter situation.
Oh God, it could have.
Slippery
Yeah.
slopes.
Slippery slope.
Yes.
Where? Okay, paint us a picture. Like what part of town?
Okay. La Jolla.
Oh.
Oh.
Shit.
Yep.
I wasn't
That's
expecting
interesting.
that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
La Jolla. This house was, it sold recently, but it was listed for, at the time this happened, it was listed for $9 million. Beautiful house, 2 stories, big house.
Okay.
And you guys, I'm sure, know how this feels. When you know a house really well, you've shown it many, many times. Yep. When you're turning on all the lights, you're not necessarily thinking, you're not paying attention. It's like autopilot,
Yeah, you're
right?
just going.
This
Was
light,
this
this
your
light,
listing or was this
a colleague in my office? And I
so
was
you
helping her out.
again. You had been there many times. You've
Many
shown the
times.
property. It's not.
Yeah.
So to sidebar, we've talked about this on other episodes because again, being a girl, a female in the industry can be dangerous, and the situations and predicaments, the way that we just like answer phone calls and meet up with people who we have never met in our life.
I know.
So crazy.
Like it's insane.
It is insane.
The situations that we literally put ourselves in.
Yeah.
But I've said this again many times on the episodes that like I now have adopted a whole thing where if I'm meeting a buyer and whether I know them or not, for sure. But if I know them and we're out seeing a bunch of properties, I will wait outside till they get there. If I get there before them and go inside with them, because I did one time encounter a squatter. I ran right out. They were sleeping, thank God. So like, it wasn't like they didn't jump out of the closet and try to attack me, but like, what if they weren't? We immediately left, and I was like, I'm never again. You've walked in on some stuff like that. It's just fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
Like
scary.
it is so terrifying. And so, but again, to your point, all of our listings, I just go in, I'm flipping on lights, like, you know, especially when it's vacant and staged, right? Like,
and you've been there for so many times.
Yeah, even like my condo listing downtown right now, I have one, and the other day I was like, nobody can get in here, right? Like, you know what I mean? But you still just have this
Elevator,
feeling, where you're just like, hello, like nobody jump out of a closet. I always am like ripping over shower curtains and like, you know, it is just one of those things. Again, when we're alone a lot, it can be very scary. Yeah. So you've been here before.
Many, many times.
You're
like,
you're just flipping on lights.
just autopilot.
How
Just
long has it been
lights.
for sale at this point?
A
A few months?
while. Several months. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
so
even
it's-
6 months. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It was quite
okay.
a while.
Which is an important point to that, because I'm sure the person had, again, cased it, seen it.
Yes.
I'm assuming. So,
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
So yes, I was on autopilot, flipping on all the lights.
And you're by yourself?
By myself.
Okay.
Big house, probably, from my recollection, 6,000 square feet, and I'm just lights, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going through downstairs, go upstairs, all the way to the side, at the very last room. So I've been through the entire house by this point. The very last
And you're now
room.
up in the back corner.
Yes, exactly.
Not near a door.
No.
Upstairs.
And I'm wearing heels. I'm upstairs all the way in the corner.
My God.
The very last room, I go in and the bed is tossed. And I'm like, I had a heart attack. I was like, are you?
Oh,
I was
I've
just like, oh my
I've
God.
scared myself before where your heart drops into your butt.
That's
and you're
exactly
like,
what
is
happened
somebody
to me.
here? Yeah.
So the bed was tossed everywhere. And I was like,
because
and
it's
I
again
froze.
vacant and staged.
Yes, vacant stage, and I just walked through the entire house. But then I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, like someone was here that shouldn't have been, clearly. And I was like, but I just walked through the whole house and I was making noise because thought I was like by myself.
Right.
Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. So
Wood floors, you have heels
Yes,
on, like you're tracing
exactly.
around.
But I had a heart attack. So I kind of run downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And now that I'm downstairs, because like I said, I was on autopilot, all the lights, I see things I missed the first time, because the first time I'm just like turning on the lights. There was like a gas canister on the kitchen table.
A gas canister?
Yes, I have photos of it. Gas canister on the kitchen thing. This house, because it's a big house, new construction, had a surveillance room. Every time I've ever been in that house, surveillance door locked. This time it's open. I look in. So there's all these screens, and several of them were like blocked. So like where the camera's supposed to show, it was black. And I'm
So
just
he
like,
had went around and blocked that particular camera.
that would be my assumption. To this day, I don't know, but that would be the assumption, because I'm like, this door is always closed. So I'm texting the listing agent, who's my good friend and colleague, and I'm like sending photos, and she's sending it to the seller, and the seller's looking through all the footage, and we're just like, what is going on?
Are you still in the house at this point?
So Good question.
Please tell me
I
you're not.
am so dumb that I was like, oh, well, I already walked through the whole house. Like, I was rattled and very scared, but I also was like, okay, clearly no one's here. So I opened the front door and I'm kind of standing in the front yard.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
texting and I'm
Okay.
trying to figure this out. Everyone that I've told this to, including my family, was like, are you like, what are you
I know, but when
thinking?
you're in the moment like that, it's
Yeah. And so
Now you wouldn't. Now having been through this,
Hell
you would
no.
you would. And again,
Yeah.
I know you want to like take some photos or whatever, but like for
You can
any,
do that after.
any other agents out there, get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
In your car, lock your door, drive down the street,
out.
like get
And
away
wait
from
for
there
Yeah.
because you
somebody to come.
don't know who's
yeah.
going to be
and
in
so
there.
basically that day, that person, thank God, was not there, didn't come back when I was still there. So, on
So
and
nobody
so
was
forth.
there. He wasn't hiding
No.
in a closet or because that's
No.
my fear too. Is that like again, if it's not like a walk-in or if it's like a closet that's just like
Yeah.
it's not full walk-in. Like
Yes.
if the doors are closed, like you wouldn't necessarily open those.
Right.
A walk-in closet, you might flip on the light or whatever. But
Yeah.
oh my God.
And so basically after that, obviously the seller, the listing agent, everyone was on alert about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person, the squatter person, came back to the house later that day, was scouring up the side to try to go back in the window to that room that was the last room I went to. The screen of the window was taken off. A neighbor called the police. That person was arrested. In all of this, I remember talking to Matt Tovey and Patrick Carencross because they had a squatter
The same
situation.
guy.
Was it
And
him?
I don't know for sure, but based on what they told me, we're like 99% sure. it's
Did he
the
have a
same guy.
scooter? Did you find a
I don't
scooter
know.
anywhere? That guy
So
was riding around on a
he's
scooter.
did the
He's-
same
yeah,
way.
same thing.
skating.
That's
And
what
he
made
was
us think.
also
Yeah.
blocking. Wasn't there? They set up cameras, didn't they?
They had a
Didn't it not
baby
say?
camera to try
Yes.
to catch him.
And
Yeah.
and he basically blocked it or found it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entrance was the same.
Up the side.
Yeah.
And this house had cameras because I thought, like, you're going to go break into a house. Why are you going to pick a $9 million one with security in La Jolla
Real
on a
cushy.
fancy street?
That
and
guy
it's like,
and
well,
that house was on Camino de la Costa, Matt and Patrick's.
Yes.
And it was nicer, but I don't think it was probably to the scale of this
Yeah.
one. But it probably was the same guy.
it honestly seemed like it because what are the odds you're going to
Yeah.
scale up the side into
Right.
Yeah.
And
well,
so-
he is savvy, this guy.
I know.
Because remember, he had one of those bird scooters or lift scooters that
Yes.
he had basically made his own somehow. I don't know how he did it. 'Cause
I
remember
know.
Matt and them when,
Yeah, they went
when
and
they
took it.
took it. They like stole it and like went and like drove it like into PB and like hid it in a bush so that he couldn't be getting around anymore because they saw him. Remember he came out of Starbucks.
Yeah.
And the guy was like,
the
"Where's my
corner.
scooter?"
you remember hearing
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. That's why
But
it probably
hopefully he
was
got
the same.
arrested.
Because it was near
did.
the houses were near each other.
This one was on La Pintura.
Oh, so it was
So it was
up.
Yeah, but he had a scooter.
He did. Until Matt. He must have got another one though, because I think Matt had already gotten rid of it. That's insane.
Yeah. And so I got
Shana, that
lucky,
is
but
so scary because
no, it was very scary.
they never encountered him either.
No.
Oh wait,
Sneaky little guy.
wait, wasn't? No. Wasn't he in the bathroom with the door
Oh.
closed or locked or something when Matt went there one time? We'll have to ask
Maybe.
Matt.
I
Matt.
forget, but
Matt always watches and listens every week. We love you, Matt. Can you drop a comment and remind us, please? Thanks.
Yeah,
That's
but
insane.
It was crazy. And so then, like you were saying before, like as female, but even guys too, it's like the fact that we all just waltz in and out of homes all day long with
Yeah.
people, like you just don't
Meeting
know.
clients we don't know in neighborhoods we're not always familiar with.
No.
Like we don't just sell here in La Jolla. And by the way,
it doesn't
sketchy things
matter.
can happen
Yeah.
anywhere.
Even
It
in La
doesn't
Jolla,
matter.
yeah.
Like there are homeless
Guns,
walking
squatters.
around here.
Yeah, you're never safe. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
This is the, everyone thinks this is so nice. It's just, we live in the hood. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
That's
but
wild.
Wild.
But it's, again, yes, it is something we do not just turn on lights. We do not we put ourselves in some crazy situations and it can be, not to go dark, but people have been attacked and murdered. Agents have been. And so it hasn't happened in a while, but it's just like, we're all getting much, we had a meeting with our broker, a regional meeting a week ago. And she was like, you do not need to call somebody back or respond to text messages or jump and say how hi to strangers you have never met. And for the love of God, do not get in a car with them. And I was like, are people still doing that? Like, you know what I mean? But to have to be reminded, because again, we work hard and we want every deal and we want to show that like we're ready and available. But
especially in the beginning,
especially in the beginning, and you're more naive and you're young and we look young. And so we look younger than we are. And so that's not great either. You know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes I have a real bitchy exterior. It's like my defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You know what I
Gotta
mean?
get it.
But
Gotta keep
yeah.
that
I'm just
bay.
like, and I'm like, I'm really nice until you don't come any closer, you know? Anyway.
But to be honest, it's crossed my mind when that happened.
Yeah.
Like what you were saying, it's like, okay, well, if the squatter was there when we were like, and
What
we
would
startled
he
them,
have done?
and I'm upstairs far from the street, and I'm wearing like,
Yeah. What were you
like, sorry, please don't hurt me. It's like, what am I gonna do? I don't know.
Well, and again, not to go scary or dark, but like, we don't know what we would do in that situation. You would think that you would run or fight back. But I've talked to agents that were like, you are so...
I froze when that happened to me.
Yeah.
I like literally couldn't move. Yeah.
It's
I believe it for
terrifying.
sure.
Because you're just, I mean, it's like what we're preparing ourselves for and, you know, what you train for. Like you want it, but in the moment, and it is one of the scariest things. Like I am so afraid of like walking in somewhere or even just anyone breaking into my own home or just like being attacked is just, it's really, you gotta be brazen, you know?
Yeah.
And, or not, that's not the right word. You gotta be, you know, brave and be able to like know your surroundings. And, you know, that's, so my dad gave me a book when I was 18 or something. See, I think I was I think I was going into college, and it's called The Gift of Fear. It was a very hard book to read. For anyone who hasn't read it, I highly recommend. It makes you, what the whole premise of the book is to not make you afraid, but
Be
to
aware.
make you aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And cell phones, again, I'm just turned 40, so I'm a little older. I had just, you know, I got a cell phone when I was a senior in high school. They had just come out, you know, when I was in, you know, early high school. And my parents, I had a cell phone in college, and my dad was like, please, I went to ASU, campus is huge. Do not walk around with your head buried in your cell phone. Because again, I had one class that was at like 9 p.m. and I was walking a mile to my parking garage. There's people out everywhere, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Same thing here. We're all so buried in our technology these days that like you have to be aware. I mean, I am always scanning. And again, my dad taught me that. I know Matt is very much like that with
do
you.
it to my daughters.
She actually takes jujitsu now, which I'm like, hey.
Love that.
Yeah.
Like, but
That's
again,
badass.
Now I'm
it
like,
is.
bring it on, squatter.
Yes, I wouldn't freeze now.
Yeah.
But we need to be aware of our surroundings and not. I follow a girl on Instagram too who is like, don't. And I sit in my car all the time, but I have this. I lock my door immediately the second I get in my car. If you're not doing that, any women out there, in my own driveway, I get in. If I have to do something, it's an automatic door lock every single time. And I'll, again, sorry,
need to do that.
total tangent. Oh my God. You don't?
No.
The second you get in your car, lock your door. I don't care. Yes, when you
do
pull
that?
away, the doors lock.
I'm not as good about it as I should be, but what I do is if my car's parked, I walk and I look in the back window of my own car to make sure
before
like,
you get in.
no
Yes.
one's in there.
And my
I'm
windows
just
are
like-
tinted, but I will
Yeah.
open the car door or whatever. And if I've been away for a while, like same thing. But you remember this, I
Yeah,
was driving
that's so
home. This rocked me. And this is the only thing that I really have like reference for. And my brother, I mean, he was like, yeah, it was. So my family was in Phoenix and I was driving home for a weekend for something. My dog was not with me at the time. I stopped and I was driving back to Arizona and I stopped in a place called Dateland. It's off the 8. I'm sure many people know it. It's like a gas station. They sell dates. You can get date shakes. I got my brother and I some dates. We love dates. And a date shake. And I like got in my car. And again, it's immediate for me to lock the door. But before I got in the car, I like loaded some stuff in the back, like shut the hatch, you know, got in my car or whatever. And I sent my brother a funny video. I'm like, oh, look at this date shake. Aren't you jealous? You know, whatever. So I'd been sitting there for a minute. But again, my doors were locked. I go to put my car in reverse and I see this guy walking towards me. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to back up and like hit him. I don't want him to startle him. You know, he's got like a bag in his hand and he's walking to his car, whatever. And he walks past my driver door and I'm just sitting there with my foot on the brake, patiently waiting. And all of a sudden, he goes like this on the back of my car door and tries to get in my car.
In the back seat.
I would
though,
have
In the
Right.
back seat behind the driver's door.
Imagine it was unlocked.
And what was in that bag?
I have no idea.
Oh my
And
God.
it to this, I mean, I could cry right now. I'm not even kidding. Like,
Yeah,
to this
I believe
day, my heart is racing. It shook me to my core.
Yeah.
And I literally, with being a female in the business and like all that stuff, like it is something that we need to be really, really cautious about. You know what I
100%,
mean?
yeah.
And what I did was I started to roll back and I was like, I literally yelled, what the fuck are you doing? And I said, excuse me. And he's like, oh. And I just hit it in reverse. And I did not give a shit if I ran over his
course
foot.
not, yeah.
I got the hell out of there. And he kind of acted like he was looking around for another car. And I
he
immediately,
said something like, oh, I thought this was my Lexus. And you're like, there's no other Lexuses in the parking lot.
yes, that's not what it, yes, something like
something
that.
like
My
that.
windows were up, but he was like, oh, sorry, I thought this was my car or something. I don't know. And I called my parents and I just told my brother was there on speaker and he's like, wait, what happened? And I was like, and one of my other family members was like, well, he was probably just looking for like, his car in the parking lot. My brother's like, I drive an Audi. He's like, how many other Audis were, because I was in middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I had by far the most decent car in the parking lot.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, and he's like, how many other of your car were in the parking lot? And I was like, none. And he's like, where are you? And I was like, I'm fine. I gunned it on that freeway so quick. I was doing 90 down. I was just like, and I made sure no one was following, the whole thing, but I didn't even stop anymore after that. I had to pee so bad when I got to my parents' house, but I like went straight home. And for 3 or 4, I cried that night in the shot. Like it just, because the thought of what could have happened rattled me. And like, again, I keep that feeling with me when I'm going into houses by myself or when I'm showing things or whatever. Like we have to be on guard.
100%.
Because you can be nice, but you just need to always be aware of your surroundings and know. So please, both of you, lock your doors the second you get in your car. It's an automatic. My car isn't even, I shut the door, lock it, then turn my car. It's like so automatic for me now because it's just.
And it saved you from what could have been a bad situation.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
My husband even says, like, even if someone's walking down the street and you feel uncomfortable, like, cross the street. Like, why?
100%.
You're going to hurt their feelings. Like,
I don't
who
give a
gives
shit. Yeah.
Who cares?
No.
Yeah. And if I'm like walking alone at night, I sometimes pretend to talk on the phone or I call someone on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'll be like, oh, or if I'm in a parking lot and you feel like you're being followed, I'm like, oh, hey babe, I'm on my way home. Yeah. Can you tell the kids, like act like you're talking to your husband? Or like, I used to have friends that had like men's work boots outside of her door because she kind of lived in a little bit different of an area. So it looked like a man had always been home. Cause like, again, you have sometimes delivery people or like workers or come into your house or whatever. And clearly it looks like only a girl lives here. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's those kinds of things. So anyway, I know this totally took like a different turn today, but we've talked about this before, and it's not all, this podcast is obviously meant to be like fun and whatever, but like I want all of our agent friends and everyone in this industry to know, like we need to be aware of our surroundings. Like it's 100%. Just, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like you walking to your car, again, don't have your head buried in your cell phone. And I am an offender of that. We're busy, I'm on the phone, I'm texting, I'm trying to get stuff done, multitask like crazy. You got to be aware of your surroundings. So
I have a question for you guys. My mailman asked, so we have a gate.
No, fuck him. Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, that's how I felt. He was like, oh, let me have the gate to your codes, or the gate to your code, the code to your gate, so I can just like drop off packages. And the UPS did that too. When we said no,
he can.
I don't know. We're just like, I don't know. You see my daughters every day. Like, what if you try to?
Yeah. See, I don't have little kids, so that's very different. So, well, okay. Let me say this: our mailman, because I live in a community, like there's 6 condos in here. The key, they have a universal key. There's a box. I don't know if you've noticed that. There's a box, right? So you might be able to do something like that. But again, he would still have access then into the inside gate.
Yeah.
So basically our mailman, because he has to, our mailbox is in here.
Yeah.
Your mailbox is not. So he can leave the package on top of the wall.
That's what he said.
He can leave it on top of the wall. And
same with the UPS guy.
I was there that day when he can't. FedEx just likes to chuck everything over because FedEx.
I know, and they bring the dog treats. So I'm like,
UPS.
You know what I mean? No, so is our mailman. I'm like, oh, so now you have my dog like liking you.
So the dog's not going to be like,
barking or whatever.
And Alani has a big bark too.
Yeah.
Actually, all of our dogs here love our UPS guy. I love him too. He has our code. Yeah. Amazon. All the Amazon drivers have my code. I know. I just keep that. I mean, Max normally locks us in. The door's unlocked right now. Max? Normally Max locks us in. I mean, same. Yeah. Also, second I get inside, I lock the door.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
And then I wait for the people to knock if I'm waiting for someone to come.
Yeah. Like, and I don't even answer the door. I don't even, showing houses.
I lock
at
myself
home,
in and then.
So do I.
Yeah.
And when my clients come in with me and I lock us in.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Because then we're walking through and I always am scanning where the exit points. Like, where is there a sliding door? Where is there, you know what I mean? So,
have to.
No, this sounds crazy, but it's not. Like, we need to be aware. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be fun now.
Okay. Wait. Time check. What time is it? Oh, we gotta wrap in a second. Okay. Do you want to play a game?
Let's do it.
Okay, because this might incite some stories. So go ahead.
Okay. What's the craziest or pettiest thing that's ever killed or almost killed one of your deals?
Ooh. Okay. This is a funny one. So I just closed the biggest deal of my career and it was an awesome one. But so we are in escrow. The parties are like getting along. The agent, me and the other people, great.
Yeah.
So the deal was negotiated where all the furniture was to be included.
Okay.
And we documented it all very clearly. So
This can go awry quickly.
yeah.
Sorry, are you the listing agent?
I'm the buyer's agent.
Okay.
And so the seller decided,
Oh boy.
can we do a little trade? Like maybe I keep this outdoor thing and you guys can have the rug or vice versa. And so my client was like, no, like that's furniture. Like we want it. It has a pop-up TV. It's very cool. My client was like, no, like that's part of the furniture. Like we agreed.
Yeah.
And so it became a little thing where it was furniture included, decor excluded, but that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So the only piece that became like kind of hostile was the rug. So the seller was trying to do that little trade with the actual thing with the pop-up TV. So in the end, it obviously didn't kill our deal. We still closed.
Yeah.
But there was serious tension over a rug, guys. And we're talking about a $10 million house. We're talking about it's like a rug.
A blanket.
Come on.
A blanket. Like it was an
get a
Hermes
new one.
blanket, but I'm like,
Right.
I will buy.
You're like,
I will
I'll
go to
buy it.
Hermes right now and buy you a new one. Like they're not that expensive. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ego.
It's just funny because it's like both parties can easily afford the rug. No question.
Especially at the price point you closed.
Yeah.
At. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so it's like you're going to literally sit here and fight over a rug that is replaceable.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Cool.
yeah, it's
Thanks.
egos at that point.
Yeah.
But you know, anyway.
I also see the principle though of your clients. Well, being
Yeah,
like,
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys said
Yeah.
that. Why are you backtracking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
would
not
too.
fair.
I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it ended up being fine, but
Good.
Yeah.
Congrats. What's your biggest pet peeve?
In life or in real estate.
ooh. I think this can apply to both, but I think my biggest pet peeve is when people they don't do what they say they're going to do. And that can take so many different forms.
Yes,
but
it
to
can.
me, that just gets under my skin.
Because
So
it
it's
doesn't
like-
matter what it is. If you said you were going to do something, please do
Yes.
it. Whether it's show up on time for something
Exactly.
or whatever. We just, last week, you saw Madison?
Yeah.
When she was here, she talked about like people canceling last minute. You know what I mean? It's like time is such a valuable thing for us, especially in this business. Like, just please do what you say you're going to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Or it's like if you say you're going to send an email or a text or, whatever it is.
Follow
it's just-
through.
That to me gets under my skin. And you know what's funny is I know you guys work with Ross and I love Ross.
Yeah.
But I told him the last time I saw him at your guys' listing by Wind and Sea, the new construction, gorgeous.
Yes.
But I told him, he's like, oh, you're doing so well. I'm like, oh, thanks, Ross. Like you've been a part of my journey all along. And I told him, I'm like, it's so crazy to me that literally doing the right thing and doing what you say you're going to do sets you apart. I'm like, shouldn't that be what you're supposed to do? And he was like, but it isn't. So it's like all of us that actually do that. It makes
He
you
preaches
rise
that
to the top,
and always has.
which is crazy.
Yes,
But
that is definitely a big pet peeve for him as well. Same with all of us. But
course,
yeah. Well,
Okay, this one's fun. If you could be anything other than a real estate agent, what would you be and why?
oh my God. So I've always said this, that if money and time wasn't a factor, I would be a lawyer. I would be a doctor. I would do all the things. Cause like I find it very interesting, but I know it wouldn't actually suit me to do it. Like I faint when I get my blood drawn. So like I'm not going to be a doctor. Okay.
cutting somebody's brain open like might not be for you, but you know.
But like I just find it fascinating to like learn those things. So if I could just study it and not actually do it, I would be stoked.
No, it's like wild when you think of like doctors when they do surgery. I'm like, you're actually cutting someone open. Like you're just like, what? Like
wild.
And also, who did you practice on? That's always like,
I know.
It's a good question.
It is a very
I'm
good
not even sure I
question.
want to know that.
Because like hairstylists, you can go to hair school and get your hair cut because they're trying to practice or whatever, right? But like, who does a doctor practice on?
I think they just go and sit,
They just observe
for a long time, and then maybe like halfway through.
Which is why they have like residency and all that stuff, but like terrifying. Anyway,
Yeah, that is.
Anyway, well, I would love that for you. So when you make it rich and you sell all these other deals, then you're like, hey guys, I'm going back to law school. Not going to be a doctor though, because I faint at the sight of blood, but
But so
yeah.
What about you guys? I don't know if we ever ask you questions, but I'm just
Sometimes,
curious.
what would you want to say yours?
I don't.
You said animal rescue.
Yeah, I would want to own like a big farm and have like animal rescue.
Yeah, love that.
I'd want to be a country singer.
Like Morgan Wallen vibes, or like
No.
no?
Love me some Carl Richards.
Okay.
I like that you're a Bravo fan. You know what I mean? You are, right? Is that what?
A what?
Did you watch Bravo?
Like the
TV?
TV? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's how you were like.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I love it.
Oh wait, I was thinking
country
Morgan
artist.
Wade.
Oh,
You know how her and Kyle are dating now?
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen. He got himself into some trouble lately.
He did.
Yes, he did. He threw a chair.
He's a little rowdy.
He's always been a little. I actually love. My godkids are obsessed with him. My godson dressed as him for Halloween last year.
Oh my gosh, how cute!
Really?
He has a mullet, full on mullet. It's
Wait,
adorable.
Who you were talking about? You're talking about like Kyle Richards.
Yes,
like
Morgan. She's dating Morgan Wade, who's a country singer. Yes.
And
but
her
Morgan
husband
Wallen,
is like in real estate, which is funny.
Yes.
Her ex-husband, I should say.
Well, I don't think they're divorced yet.
Oh,
I'm still holding
drama.
out hope, but drama. Anyway, well, that's all the time we have for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. That's
We
fun.
need you to come back for part 2 because I know we've got some stories
Yeah.
and like, sorry that this took that turn, but I'm glad it did because again, we need to talk about some of
important.
this. It's very important.
Yeah.
So Shana, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Of course.
thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.